Hello again, welcome back to the PhatPhish Guitar Studio. I'm Dave and welcome to the Absolute Beginners series of guitar tutorials. You're actually joining partway through the series. I'd recommend you do these in order, so I'll put a link in the information section down there to part one so you can start and go through these in order. See you back here once you've been through the earlier tutorials. Let's talk a little bit about practice. The only way you're going to get good at the guitar is to practice, and it's important to make a differentiation between playing and practicing. If you sit down with your guitar and you just play away doing different things, you will eventually get better because you're moving your fingers more. You'll be playing the same thing probably over and over again, and your fingers will just get more proficient. It's kind of the way we work. But you can get better faster if you think about how you structure your time and what you play. First off, it's important to warm up. So just going through some very simple chord changes, or playing through that minor pentatonic or that minor blues scale nice and slowly, just to get your picking hand and your fretting hand in sync and getting everything kind of warmed up. It's the same thing as, if you went to the gym, you wouldn't just suddenly go to the treadmill and start running as fast as you possibly can. You do some stretches, get loosened up, and kind of ease yourself into what you're going to do. And it's the same with guitar. It's a physical activity. You don't want to pull muscles or stretch yourself or anything like that. So warm up, and then think about what you know. You know some chords, chord progressions that you want to play. And think about, well, what do you want to get better at? And kind of structure your time into little blocks, so you spend a bit of time based on the things that we've done in the series of tutorials so far. You might spend some time just playing the chords, getting proficient at moving between them, then play the 12-bar blues progression through. Playing against a metronome, so that's your pace. So you think, okay, I can play this 12-bar blues against a metronome set at say 80 beats a minute. As you get more proficient, crank the metronome up. Can you do that comfortably, smoothly at 85 beats a minute? And then over time, just turn the speed up on the metronome, and you should be able to move your fingers and everything kind of at a faster speed. An experiment, and and practicing the lead lines as well. There's the ones that we already know. What speed can you play those at against a metronome? Play it, as you play each day. Think about, are you ready to turn the metronome up a little bit, and try playing that a little bit faster. Picking a speed on the metronome that you can already do, and just be able to kind of go to that speed and play it. So things that you think about, what you want to include in your practice routine: playing chords, playing chord progressions, playing those lead lines. Then spending some time just experimenting, but break your time, your practice time down into logical blocks. Play a little bit of, say, chords or whatever. Take a break, stretch your fingers out, then play something different. As if you keep the variety, it helps you to keep the interest and keep yourself focused, and stops the whole thing from getting boring. If you learn the minor pentatonic scale and all you're going to do is just sit for half an hour and just go up and down through the minor pentatonic scale, it's going to be really boring. It's not going to excite you, and if anything, it's going to put you off playing. So by breaking your routine up, it stops you from getting bored or stale or anything like that. But by focusing on the things that you're going to practice, and make sure that you're addressing the things that you want to get better at. If you're completely comfortable about how you play an A chord, but you haven't quite got your fingers around a G chord yet, then spend a bit more time playing progressions that have the G chord in it, so you're getting the practice. You don't need to focus so much on playing the A chord. Spend a bit of time on what you want to get better at. Don't neglect playing the A chord. Play some stuff with the A chord now and again, so you're keeping your proficiency, but focus more on the things that you're not so proficient at. And spend a bit of that time with the experimental stuff. sitting down, playing through scales and trying to come up with little licks and patterns out of that. Being creative, that's good, but your practice time shouldn't just be sitting and noodling away trying to come up with stuff. If you structure your time, you should get better results. Now, ideally, you should be looking to spend, at the minute, at least half an hour to 3/4 of an hour per day practicing as a solid block. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there is not really good enough. You need a decent block broken up so your fingers are warmed up and you can go through different things. Half an hour to 3/4 of an hour per day, I would say minimum. The more time you can spend, really, the better. And as you learn more stuff, there'll be more things that you need to include in your practice routine. So you might be aspiring to 3/4 of an hour to an hour a day. The really, really serious guitar players, they are working on different things and could be practicing for a significant number of hours per day. But right now, like I say, if you can aim for half an hour to 3/4 of an hour every day, that's a good target and something you should kind of aim for. And something you can do is, if you've got you don't even need a fancy camera. If you've just got a smartphone with a video camera on it, set that up and maybe once a week record yourself practicing, and then week on week compare how you're coming on, and that should encourage you, because you should be starting to see, well, this is me practicing last week and I was playing this chord progression at metronome was set to 80 beats a minute. This week I managed to get it up to 85, and those chord progression, I'm completely smooth on those chord changes now, whereas I was a little bit stuttery last week. And you've got something to compare, and you can kind of measure your progress, and that's good, because it encourages you, and you think, well, if I keep up with this, I'll get better, and so on. So yeah, do keep practicing. So let's recap now what we've learned in this series so far. Quite a bit, actually, when you think about it. We've learned how to play a series of chords. We started off on the A major chord, we learned the D major chord, E major chord, C major chord and the G major chord. So there's 5 chords that we know. We learned how to put those chords together in groups of 3 to give us a 12-bar blues chord progression. Learned how to play some lead lines. We've learned that those lead lines actually come from a scale, which is the minor pentatonic. We've learned how to play that scale in full at different positions on the neck, depending on what key we want to play in. And we've also learned how to add a note to that minor pentatonic to give us the minor blues scale, which gives us some more interesting sounds, and looked at how we can just sort of improvise by taking notes from those scales and just stringing them together in lead lines and licks. So thinking on it, you've actually got quite a comprehensive set of skills now. And our objective in this series was to get you becoming a guitar player and being able to play something quite quickly. Now, I could have done that by just saying, sit down, I'll show you how to play a piece of music. But hopefully you'll realise the benefits of going about it the way we have. I've shown you some building blocks and how you can put those together to do musical things. And you can not only play prescribed things like a 12-bar blues in a given key, but now we've started to look at how we can take notes from a scale. You get into a position where you can come up with your own things, you can write your own lead lines, you can improvise over chords, and that's great because it's got something you've got as a common ground where you can jam with other musicians. If you say, well, we're going to jam in the key of A, someone plays 12-bar blues in the key of A, which you know and you understand, so you can jam on the chords if you want, or you can go to the A minor pentatonic and start playing lead lines from the A minor pentatonic or the A minor blues scale, jam along with them, and that's is a musical experience. Being able to play with other musicians like that is great. Okay, so this little module is probably a little bit shorter than the other ones in the series, but the stuff we've looked at, really important, and do spend some time getting familiar with it and experimenting and being creative. And we'll come back, but probably take a little break now and then come back with some other tutorials to teach you some of the other sort of more fundamental skills that you need to know as a guitar player. Okay, so I'll see you in another video in a little while. Bye for now.